If fear of disappointment is holding you back from growing your business, like you are thinking, oh my gosh, why bother doing this post? Why bother reaching out to this potential client? Why bother pitching myself to this publication? Because I'm going to be disappointed. We are going to talk about how to get over that today. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Luisa Zhou, and this channel is all about helping you succeed as an entrepreneur and business owner. Now, being able to handle disappointment is a huge piece of that. So I'm going to share with you some of my top tips for going from someone who was really easily disappointed and let that hold her back from really committing to growing her business for over 2 years to someone who kind of eats disappointment for breakfast. With that, let's jump into my first tip, which is to reframe what that disappointment means to you. Not to get too theoretical, but let's first start with what the definition of disappointment actually is. And that is sadness, essentially, caused by the unfulfillment of a hope or execution. And that definition actually tells you a lot about how to overcome your disappointments and not let them hold you back. So the big key word there is non-fulfillment. By the way, I think I said unfulfillment earlier. That's not a word, so let's just skip right over that. But back to non-fulfillment, which means that something that you were hoping for, something that you took action towards, didn't happen. The thing here is, when you look at it as black or white, it happened or it didn't happen, of course you're going to be disappointed if it didn't happen. However, when you reframe it to, it didn't happen this time, this was just one step along the process versus making it, did it happen or did it not happen? And if it didn't happen, that's the end. That completely changes how you view that failure and that disappointment. So for example, let's say I'm posting on social media and I don't get a like, a comment, or a sale from it. With the first version of how you view disappointment, I could say, man, I didn't get any results from this. This is the end. I'm not gonna succeed, and so be it. That's pretty serious and dramatic, right? The other way to think about it, to reframe it, is if I'm looking at it as I'm learning about social media, I'm learning how to grow on it, I'm learning how to use social media for my business. Okay, this was just one step. This step was a disappointment, and that's all right. I'm gonna grow from it, I'm gonna learn from it, and the next time maybe I'll have a little bit of improvement. So it's really about reframing to, okay, this is a one-time thing, it's either black or white, to, okay, this is just one step in the process, I'll try again next time. This step was a disappointment, but the long term, if I don't give up, will be the exact opposite of that. I will fulfill my dreams and goals because I've overcome that one step. Also, one last note on this tip, as a coach and course creator, I have helped thousands of students and clients grow and build their own online business. And I will tell you, this reframe makes a big difference. It sounds maybe silly when you hear it from someone else, but think about if you've had the perception of, oh my gosh, if this doesn't work this time, this is just not gonna work. I'm gonna get so discouraged, right? Pretty much all of us have been there. And instead, when you reframe it from, again, that one-time thing to a long-term step-by-step process, what you're able to do is realize, okay, yeah, I can see this is just one step. I'm gonna get better at it, and I might be disappointed in this step, but I won't be disappointed in the ultimate fulfillment of my goal and dream. The second tip that I have for you is to analyze it. So what I mean by that is, I am an engineer by training, and so this is where my mind naturally gravitates to, but it is really helpful. Whenever something doesn't work, I immediately think, okay, what are the processes? How do we logic the heck out of this and figure out the pieces that weren't working so we can improve it? So borrow a little bit of that mindset for yourself. And what that means is when you have a disappointment, it's not just, okay, I'm disappointed, right? Yes, absolutely, you can feel into that. But beyond that, instead of thinking about it as emotional, think about it from an analytical, from a logical point of view. Take the emotion piece out of it for a little bit and then figure out, okay, why didn't this work? I promise you, by the way, it's not that you are one of the few people in the world who is not going to succeed at the same processes, strategies, and tactics and skills that so many other entrepreneurs just like you and aspiring entrepreneurs have succeeded at. You're not special in that way, and that's a good thing. You're not so special that you're going to fail, right? And so when you remove that piece out of it, that, oh my gosh, this is me, and you look at it from, okay, what are the pieces of this? Did I maybe do this in a way that could be improved? Is the way I did it open for improvement? Is there something about how I'm speaking to people, what I'm sharing, the way I'm communicating with it, through it, who I'm speaking to, or anything else that could be analyzed? So for example, one of the first things I did in one of my first online businesses, which was Microsoft Excel consulting, was I tried to pitch Lifehacker, which, if you don't know, is a massively popular productivity self-improvement website. And I had no online brand recognition. I had no clue what I was doing, but I was really good at Microsoft Excel. So I figured, okay, sure, why not? So I sent this woman, this editor at Lifehacker, a pitch about this amazing article I was going to write for her on Microsoft Excel. And of course, she never got back to me, because looking back at the time, I could have felt really disappointed, and I did. But what I did after that initial disappointment was after I practiced a few other pitches, went back to look at that one, and now I can tell why she never responded. It was very much about me. I had no clue who her audience was. I had no clue what kind of articles they liked, and my idea was, honestly, it was good, but it was not that creative. I didn't understand how to reframe what I was saying to make it more interesting to readers and editors. And so once I realized all of those things, and those took a little bit of research and thinking through, I was able to say, okay, it's not that this editor personally hates me. It's not that I'm never going to be able to write for Lifehacker. It's definitely not that I'm not cut out for this. It's just that these were the things that were wrong or could be improved, and now I can go and improve on it. So really being analytical about how you think about the disappointments, what you could improve on it, so that you can go to step 2, right? Remember the science experiments that we used to do in middle school and high school? This is the same thing. You change one variable, you try again, and then you eventually get to this point where it just becomes better and better, and you get better results. Tip number 3 is incredibly important, but it's also easier said than done. And again, I have been there, so I definitely know it and get it. And that tip is to change your time frame. So in the beginning of my business, I would set all these arbitrary goals, like I need to leave my job at this point. But when I say beginning of my business, I mean one of my earlier online businesses, not this exact one, because at the time I didn't know how to build a business. How was I going to help anyone with that? At the time, for example, I was doing career coaching or Microsoft Excel consulting, and eventually digital advertising consulting. So lots of different businesses. And so whichever one, I would say, okay, I'm gonna leave my job by this time frame. I had no reason for setting that time frame. I just wanted to leave my job. Or I would say things like, I am gonna make $5,000, $10,000, 6 figures by this date. And again, there was no rhyme or reason for that. I was setting those goals when I'd barely gotten one client. And so it was just completely made up in my mind for when I needed to have that happen. Now, here's the thing. I get it. You want to hit your goals as quickly as possible. We all do, right? However, when you take that arbitrary deadline, that kind of desperation that comes with setting those arbitrary deadlines away, then what you get to do is you get to set goals that feel good, that help you move forward. Again, like I talk about in that video I am linking for you up there. And then again, you get to reframe how you view disappointment. So if I could go back in time and coach myself at that point, I needed a lot of coaching back then, I would basically say to myself, hey, what is up with this arbitrary deadline? You've not even crossed $10,000 of revenue in your business. Why are you thinking about leaving your job or crossing 6 figures in just a few months? Stop putting that pressure on yourself. What is going to happen if you don't hit that? Are you going to give up? And the truth was, I wasn't going to give up. And so that was just a random deadline that I thought I had to set to really make myself feel good about moving forward and to motivate myself and to believe that I could hit the goal. The reframe here is, let me give you an example. If I asked you, do you think you can make 6 figures? And I didn't give you a time frame, you would say yes. You would say, eventually over my lifetime, I will make 6 figures and most likely more. Probably a lot more. And then what if I condense that into, do you think you can make 6 figures this year? If you already have a 6-figure salary, then you'll say yes or close to it, or a year or two around there. Okay, great. What if I condense that further to say, what if you had to make 6 figures in a month or in a day? Would you believe that then? For a lot of people at that point, then the answer might be no. So what I just did was I basically showed you how the time element is the thing that really sets you up for belief, for disappointment, or not disappointment, right? If you are not thinking, I need to make this work in this amount of time, then you're freeing yourself up to believe, okay, this is going to happen. And guess what? When that is the case, you're not worried about, oh my gosh, is this gonna happen? Do I have to hit this arbitrary deadline? You actually end up hitting those goals a lot faster. And so what you want to do is you wanna take away that arbitrary timeline that isn't helping you and reframe the time that you're setting to hit your goals so that you're not setting yourself up for arbitrary and unnecessary disappointment. And again, one last note on this tip. If you're thinking, Luisa, I get it, but I wanna hit my goals as quickly as possible. The thing here is that is what helps you hit your goals as quickly as possible. I'm not saying to not set deadlines so that you can just slowly take forever. No, here we are all about, let's be efficient, let's be as fast as possible, right? There's no point in dilly-dallying, so to speak. That being said, when you remove that unnecessary pressure of that arbitrary deadline, which then makes you feel disappointed and unmotivated when you don't hit it, which I experienced again and again and again in the beginning phases of my business when I didn't understand this concept, you are again going to hit those goals so much faster and grow from step to step. The final tip I have for you might seem a little bit contrary to the logical tips that I had for you earlier, but it actually goes really well hand in hand with them. And that tip is to feel into your disappointment. There is a really important reason for this, and that is that we are human beings. You are going to feel all the emotions that you need to feel, and when you try to tell yourself that a certain emotion is negative or bad or try to suppress it, guess what? You suppress it, and then eventually it builds up so much pressure that you can't suppress it anymore, right? So I, again, have been here for a really long time in the beginning stages in my first online business. I tried to suppress that disappointment by telling myself, no, right? You need to be more motivated. You need to be more self-disciplined. If you're feeling that disappointment, it means you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And oh my gosh, that just built up so much negative lack of confidence and lack of belief in myself and my ability to be an entrepreneur. So when you reframe it into instead, disappointment is a part of the journey. You get to feel disappointed. It's normal. When you normalize that, what that does is it allows you to truly believe that you are meant to be an entrepreneur, and all the feelings that you're feeling, good, bad, in between, are absolutely normal. There's a really great story I always think of when I think of this, and it's a story I heard from Sarah Blakely, who is the billionaire founder of Spanx. And she shared, and I don't remember where I heard this, but she shared, growing up, one of the most powerful things my father taught me was that at the dinner table every day, he would ask us, what did you fail at? He would ask her and her brothers. And if we had not failed at anything that day, that was the real failure. And what that taught her was that failure was a normal part of the process. And if you're not failing, you're not being disappointed, you're not growing. And so really for a lot of us, failure and disappointment go hand in hand. And that's why I relate to this story. And so what you want to be thinking about is, okay, this is a normal part of the process. I get to feel it. It's okay. It's not negative. It doesn't mean that I don't have the super self-discipline of a successful entrepreneur. I will tell you, I'm fairly successful. I've been doing this for a good while, and I feel disappointment all the time. And the reason is because I'm always pushing myself to grow and to try new things, because it can be very easy for us at wherever we are in life to kind of just coast wherever we are, right? Be in the job, be whatever you are in your life, be wherever you are in your business, and kind of, okay, this is what's easy, this is what's good, I never have to be disappointed. Do you really want that? Probably not, because you are here right now. And I'll tell you, I definitely don't want that. So I would rather embrace the disappointment, feel into it, and you do what you gotta do. Sometimes you gotta cry, sometimes you gotta just be really moody and grumpy, sometimes you gotta, I don't know, eat some ice cream. all of that, or whatever you need to do. You feel into it, you realize it's a part of the process, and then you move on. And when you allow yourself to do that, then you're able to, again, apply all the other tips that we just covered even more powerfully. So you've got this really powerful dynamic. You're committed to the long-term growth. You realize disappointment is just a step in the process versus a black and white one and done type thing. You allow yourself to feel it. It doesn't feel like a negative thing at all. It just feels like, okay, this is part of the process. You're able to learn from it and improve from it and realize, okay, that means there was room for growth, and this is how I'm going to learn from it and grow from it. And with all of that, build this up so that you are feeling better and better. You're feeling more and more confident. You're recovering faster and faster from your disappointments. Your disappointments are no longer holding you back. And guess what? When that happens, your growth skyrockets. I have seen this time and time again at this point, helping thousands of students and clients through my different coaching programs and courses. And when you have this piece, the tactical stuff, the step-by-steps, you layer on top of this confidence and you just grow so quickly. Versus, even if you have the tactics, you're doing all the steps, but you're feeling all that disappointment and lack of confidence, you could be doing for months and years, like I was, and make no progress. So this is incredibly important, and I hope you've gotten some really powerful takeaways from it. Now with that, now that we've reframed disappointment for you, let's talk a little bit more about the analytical piece, how to analyze what's going on if you're not getting results in clients. And so with that, I've got another great video for you that covers what's going on if you're not getting clients, what to analyze, how to analyze it, and what to do instead. So I will link that video for you somewhere on the screen and or in the description below, so make sure that you check that out. I've also got a great PDF for you on the 15-second script to use to get your first or next paying client, so that once you reframe your disappointment, you feel good about analyzing what's going on and improving it, you know exactly what to do to go out there and get that next client. So again, I'll link that PDF for you somewhere on the screen and or in the description below. If you are new to my channel and you have loved this video, make sure you like this video, you hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every week when I release a brand new video on succeeding as an entrepreneur and growing your own business. All right, that is it for today. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.